Greetings, Dr. Wolfula here to present a very important special audio presentation that your ears cannot dare unlisten to. Does that make sense? Oh, it doesn't matter. Listen to this.
Welcome to someone's favorite movie. I'm coming to you from the Pod Shack outside beautiful Bay City, Michigan. My name is Randy, and with me is my co-host. His name is Tom Cole, but you can call him Mo. Know why they call him Mo? Because every time you hear him, you want Mo Co. Huh?
Yeah. Oh.
Tom Cole, we made a promise to the listeners on the very last episode, if you recall, if you can drift your mind back several weeks. Yeah, that's right. Several weeks. We had this lofty dream of covering all these holiday classics. And in true someone's favorite movie fashion, we didn't do any of that shit. I mean, it's past Christmas. People are taking off their reindeer antlers off their stupid vans, taking that Rudolph nose off their dumb grills. You know, you do that every year to celebrate Jesus Christ. You put on deer antlers and a Rudolph nose on your SUV.
You know what? Not to get off on a tangent, but
you can.
Speaking of weird holiday things, I was at my local credit union yesterday, and I got to talking to the notary there, and I guess there is a company that they're getting ready to help out, where they're installing Christmas lights built into your eaves troughs and all around your house that stay up all year round.
The lazy man's Christmas lights. I kind of dig that. Someone's going to make a lot of money from that idea.
I'm sure they will. I'm just wondering what it's going to do to the resale value of that house.
Oh, it'll shit can it, probably.
Probably, but you know what? You'll have some twinkling lights.
You will have twinkling lights, but I swear to God, everyone looks at you if you have your lights up one day past January 1st, and they judge you to be a lazy sloth.
That's why I don't even bother putting them up, because I'm a lazy sloth.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. Last year, there was a house in the neighborhood that had a giant, and I mean giant, inflatable minion with a Santa Claus hat on it, because nothing says Christmas like a giant minion with a Santa Claus hat. And they had that stupid giant minion with a Santa Claus hat, deflated, mind you, completely flaccid, in the middle of their yard for probably till, I don't know, April. It was stupid.
Oh my God. They didn't even bother to inflate it?
No, they didn't even bother to inflate it. You know, it's right there. You might as well own that shit. But no.
If you're going to be obnoxious about a Christmas decoration, go all in.
I saw today, in fact, a very fresh slice of Bah Humbug Blight. It was a Christmas lights, right? But a decal put on a pure white SUV. Like, I don't know how easily these stupid lights will scrape off that car. But
not to mention what it'll do to the finish.
Yeah. Like, why would you do that? I wanted to turn that Snow White car yellow, you know? You know what I mean? Do you get it?
I'm trying not to judge. Failing miserably, but I'm trying.
Oh, I admire your willpower.
Yeah, I'm trying to be a better Tomco, you know?
Oh man, is that a New Year's resolution? Do you do those? Do you do New Year's resolutions?
You know what? I do not, because I have no willpower.
Okay, that's fair. I mean, at least you're honest. Like, some people just trick themselves.
No, I try not to bullshit myself.
Okay, I like that. I'm gonna get in actually good shape again That's my goal. I'm not going to start January 1st. Well, yeah, I'm going to start at January 2nd, actually, because I'm going to have some time off. So I'm not calling it a resolution. I'm going to call it a have to do, because boy, oh boy, do I have to do it to chase this little boy that I have around the house. He's not even walking yet, and he's wearing me out, sir. He's wearing me out.
You know what? Get used to it, buddy. It only gets worse. I spent the day with my 3-year-old nephews, and they kicked the living shit out of me.
I believe it. I was listening back to the last podcast that we did, and I sounded like the great Roddy Piper had me in a sleeper hold. I sounded so drowsy, and that's what happens when you have a baby infant beating you into submission with random late night outbursts.
To a full-grown infant.
As opposed to a full-grown infant like Tomko. You should see the late night outburst that this man has. He just wakes up in the middle of the night, and Mrs. Tomko is like, "What is wrong?" He's like, "They got Batman. They got Batman all wrong in Batman and Robin, and I can't get over it."
Oh, don't even get me started on the Schumacher verse.
I refuse to do so.
Restore the Schumacher verse. That's all I'm saying.
All right, everybody, freeze. Is that what he says? That Mr. Freeze? Is that the right quote? I'm going to believe it is.
That's probably the least offensive of the ice puns in Batman and Robin.
Yeah. I mean, you know, he does the same thing in The Running Man. He's just a walking one-liner, but they're not like freeze-related jokes in snow.
Well, come on. Half of his dialogue in the 80s was pun.
Yeah, this is true. This is true. Tomko, I want to take you back right now, in fact. You bring up a good point. You bring up the 80s, right?
Yes.
I'm going to take you back to the year 1985. Your lovable co-host, Randy, here was 4 years of age. Oh, yeah. Do you have your rose-tinted glasses on?
I'm thinking back to the days of Ronald Reagan and Make My Day.
Yeah. Are you drooling with the delicious visions of nostalgia? It's 1985. People go to rock.
Look at the hair.
Look at that hair. People go to Poison concerts and hold up lighters every time every rose has its thorn displayed.
Yep.
The top movies that year, the year of our Lord, 1985, are Back to the Future, Beverly Hills Cop, Rambo First Blood Part 2, Rocky IV, Cocoon, a movie called Witness, The Goonies, Police Academy 2, Fletch, A View to Kill. I mean, come on now.
That is a stacked year.
If I go even further, National Lampoon's European Vacation, Mask, The Breakfast Club, Pale Rider, Pee-wee's Big Adventure, Brewster's Millions, Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, Commando, Teen Wolf. Stop it. Stop it.
Truly, we lived in a magical age that we're appreciating too late.
4 years old. I couldn't appreciate such things. I'd have to grow up a few years to fully appreciate.
I was 8. But, as they say, youth is wasted on the young.
Also in 1985, a movie called The Stuff came out. Tomko. It was not, and I repeat, not in the top 20 movies of that year. Box office-wise, asterisk.
Oh.
Tomko.
Yes, sir.
The year is 2002.
Yes, sir. Oh?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, the year is 2002.
We're making a pit stop. Okay.
We're making a pit stop along this journey. The year is 2002. Randy's in college. You know, early 20s here.
Yeah.
He goes to the local multiplex. Do you remember what a multiplex is?
Very fondly, yes.
Oh, those delicious nostalgia tears flowing freely down Tomko's face.
Like the butter upon the popcorn.
Randy goes to see a movie called Phone Booth starring Colin Farrell.
I remember deciding not to go see that movie back in 2002. Yeah.
Oh, Randy enjoys this movie. He realizes it's written by a man called Larry Cohen. He doesn't know who this man is. He doesn't know. People go
How could you?
How could I? How could I? People go to rock concerts and they hold up lighters every time Nickelback plays. This is how you remind me of what I really am.
Oh, yeah. Doesn't really hold a candle to Every Rose Has Its Thorn, but that's the, sands of time, I guess.
That's the sands of time.
Yes.
So I look at this Larry Cohen guy and I start to get into weird cinema during this time, and I hear of a movie called The Stuff, and I'm like, what is this? And it's video store era. If it wasn't in the video store, you probably didn't watch it. It was in the infancy of Netflix. I probably could have sent away for the DVD, but I didn't. I did not.
So how did you find this movie?
Tomko, it's the year of our Lord 2020.
Oh.
People are going to see The Weeknd in concert. They hold up their cell phones instead of lighters. But only for a little bit because, COVID-19 turned the world into I don't know. Everyone was a wallflower then. Y'all stayed indoors and stuff.
Mm.
I'm dating Pookie, at the time, my girlfriend whom I adored, and she told me about this movie called The Stuff. And we were social distancing. So we decided to have movie nights where we would both queue up a movie at the same time in our separate habitats and kind of text each other back and forth. And it would be like actually watching the movie with a person, except not. This is what lonely people do when they don't meet girls in real life. Except I had met her in real life, but we were separated by a deadly, deadly disease. But was it deadly? I don't know. It was still a disease, though. I watched a movie called The Stuff for the first time. It becomes, as I continue to date Pookie, my girlfriend whom I adore, and she becomes Pookie, my wife whom I adore, we watch it every year. Around this time.
Aww.
In fact, around Christmas time. Footnote, it might not actually be around Christmas time every year, but it sounds good in justifying this episode's existence.
You know what? I definitely think that this is a fitting movie for the season. I can see why you would watch it this time of year.
Well, that was my brainstorm when initially I suggested it for this podcast. It's a commentary on consumerism. Did you get that?
Very much so. Yes, sir.
Oh, man. This movie is called The Stuff, written, directed by Larry Cohen. You can learn more about Larry Cohen. There's a documentary on Tubi right now called King Cohen. It's very fascinating. Very fascinating. But the movie The Stuff is about a product that's pushed to the people of America and I dare say around the world, and it catches on like wildfire. Everyone needs it. Enough is never enough.
No.
I mean, can't you see this getting rang up by all the bored, barely conscious retail clerks who view your existence, Tomko, in their day as an inconvenience in the ironically named convenience store where they work? Can't you just see it?
Easily. I can also see all kinds of annoying commercials everywhere bombarding you.
All we need is just one TikTok challenge to justify the crazed popularity of this junk. They would fly off the shelves.
Oh, absolutely.
Fly off the shelves. The movie stars one Michael Moriarty. His first major role being Bang the Drum Slowly, co-starring Robert De Niro. A movie that a younger version of me liked, but a movie that the current version of me hasn't seen it, so who knows what I would think now. I remember liking it at the time.
Fair enough. That's a movie that's always been on my radar. Just haven't actually pulled the trigger yet.
I mean, Robert De Niro's performance in Bang the Dumb slowly, apparently. That's probably a Weird Al parody somewhere. Robert De Niro's performance combined with Mean Streets led him to get cast in such movies as The Godfather 2 and Taxi Driver. Michael Moriarty's performance in that movie got him cast in a whole slew of Larry Cohen productions like Q the Winged Serpent, The Stuff, It's Alive 3, Island of the Live, which is about, I shit you not, little demon babies. Yeah, that's right. And also Return to Salem's Lot. One more piece of trivia, ladies and gentlemen. He also starred in the 1986 movie Troll. His character's name in that movie, do you know, Tomko? Harry Potter.
No shit.
Oh, yes.
Someone call a lawyer.
They've probably been called.
Probably. So there's a lot to kind of unpack in this movie. Before we hit record, I was telling you that I have sat down to watch this movie 3 times now.
Wait, did you I was under the impression you got through it 3 times. You did not?
I've gotten through it 2.5 times.
Okay, that's fair.
I had to rewatch it because when I first watched it, I walked into this completely blind. I knew that it was a satire / horror movie. The only thing I knew about it was the VHS box freaked me out. The first time I watched this, I have to admit, I didn't really get it because I kept trying to make sense out of the plot. This is one of those movies that only works if you ask no questions. Would you agree?
Asking questions when watching a movie such as this just completely eliminates any joy you'll get from it. For example, yes. The movie begins with some workers at a rock quarry. They discover some white substance bubbling up from the earth. What's
the first thing you do?
Yeah. As is standard practice with any white liquid substance that you see on the ground, you just have to say, "Oh, what the hell? I have to taste this." And so they do. And lo and behold, is this delicious?
Yeah, that's where the movies, the first time around, was starting to make me kind of wonder what the hell I gotten into.
Oh, Tomko, you know what? Potatoes and cucumbers and shit come from the ground too, and you eat that, so.
Yeah, but I don't know if I'd want to be the first one to eat it. Let alone enthusiastically being the first one.
So the movie begins because 2 blue-collar Joes made the grim decision to taste some white junk coming out of the ground, and the world was never the same, you see, because this white gunk was sweet. The ambrosia of the gods, I would say, or the devil.
Oh.
Because gods are in the sky and the devil is underground, you know?
I see what she's doing. Oh.
Yeah. But what happens, and you only realize this after you watch it a few times, as per Tomko, big junk food views the stuff as the greatest threat to their products since diabetes, and they want to keep a stranglehold on America's empty calorie intake, so they hire a corporate saboteur to investigate this sensation. And that saboteur is Michael Moriarty as Mo Rutherford.
In one of the worst toupees I've ever seen.
He has a pretty bad hairpiece, but I think that he's delightfully charming in this movie.
He is. His performance definitely saves that role, I think.
Yeah, I agree. You are going to maybe want to punch me right through the internet for suggesting this, Tomko.
Oh.
But he's got this weird sort of southern accent, and I swear to you, that combined with his sarcasm and one-liners reminds me of Jimmy Stewart's performance in Rear Window, Don't Hit Me.
I'm not getting that at all, but I was actually more reminded of a cross between John Voight from Deliverance mixed with Joe Pantoliano from the Sopranos. Only because of the southern drawl and the blonde hair and the bad toupee. But I will say that Michael Moriarty himself, he was a charming motherfucker in this movie.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like the plot was just a shabby excuse to have him at cocky and also to show off some weirdo special effects. And well,
I mean, the fact that he's doing this all with a straight face it's kind of impressive, actually.
This movie is pure 80s in the fact that this has the horror movie special effects that only the 80s can deliver.
Yes. Yeah, I would agree. This is showing both the great and bad things about practical effects.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, in this movie, I'm not saying the special effects are great. I'm saying they're so freaking weird that you're just like, I think that was awesome.
It is. Plus, I mean, having watched all those behind-the-scenes documentaries when I was a kid about how they made the movie Magic, I found myself kind of trying to figure out, okay, this is a gimbal. That room's upside down. Okay, now they've got a miniature version and they just superimpose the people through matte paintings. Okay, I just kind of find myself figuring out exactly how they pulled all that off, and I actually found that kind of fun. As opposed to, okay, it was somebody in front of a computer for 10 months.
I wish the movie studios would say, all come together and be like, you know what? For 1 year, there's a ban on any CGI. We're only using practical effects.
Oh, dude, I guarantee you, if you went out of your way to make a movie with nothing but practical effects and marketed it as such, you would have a hit on your hands. I guarantee you.
I agree. I miss practical effects. CGI is cool and whatever, but I don't know. Some of those, especially in horror, those practical effects are so fucking weird and twisted sometimes that it just adds to it, I think.
Well, plus, I mean, it's a cliche to say this at this point, but it's kind of hard to get the same kind of reaction from a CGI effect than you can get from an actor on the stage looking at the thing that they're supposed to be reacting to.
Yeah. You're probably going to have a greater reaction to Chocolate Chip Charlie his head blowing up in this movie than you would say any random Marvel movie where character A is shooting colors at character B.
I would agree. I would absolutely agree. But the one thing about this movie that made me scratch my head, and especially with Michael Moriarty's performance, was, yeah, I get that he is a charming, smooth-talking guy who also is a disgraced FBI agent and all these other things that he manages to pull off. But how is it that every single person that he's talking to is so cooperative? Even the bad guys in this movie are cooperative.
The plot has to keep moving.
He goes to the Danny Aiello from the FDA, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I remember that. You know, I'm not sure exactly what it's made out of, but here's all my paperwork in relation to it."
Yeah, that entire scene makes zero sense to me. Zero sense to me. So the stuff we find out through the view of a precocious young child who's the only person in America bright enough not to eat the stuff because he sees
and apparently the only person on Earth to actually see it move.
He's the only one that's ever seen it move. Yes, the stuff moves. It's alive. It will take you over and you'll become a stuffed zombie or something. And he's the only one to see it move, so he's completely against it. His family is brainwashed and possessed by the stuff. I've heard this movie described as a mix of The Blob and Invasion of the Body Snatchers, and yeah, that's an easy comparison. Yeah. But we find out it's alive. And then that scene that Tomko's talking about, Danny Aiello, is very fearful of his dog. And the first time I saw that movie, I'm like, oh, it's because he's possessed by the stuff and the dog doesn't like him. Oh, no, he's got a whole room full of the stuff, like hundreds of containers of it. So he must be eating it, probably, but also his dog is too. And his dog, I don't know, kills him.
Because even though he has a room full of containers, Danny Aiello's dying words were, "I'll buy more."
Enough is never enough.
Exactly.
The
thing I love about that scene, though, is the complete lack of special effects.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, how do they have a menacing dog? They show a dog off camera growling and snarling, and then have that presumably same dog calmly walk across the screen.
I mean, they did have a budget, Tomko.
Yes, this movie did have a budget, and they spent it in all the right places, but those places weren't animal wranglers.
That's true. I will say that they do a great job in this movie of making the stuff seem like an actual product through product design and logo and catchy jingles, and it seems like it would be there in the shelves of the 80s next to Pepsi and Coca-Cola.
I'm old enough to remember 85, and obviously I'm old enough to remember the advertising because I was the key demographic for that day and age, and it's very, very accurate the way that they presented marketing in this movie.
We have in this movie Chocolate Chip Charlie, played by Garrett Morris, who is one of the founding members of SNL.
Yes, he is.
And he hated this movie.
Really?
In an interview with the AV Club, well, I'm not sure he hated the movie so much. He hated working for Larry Cohen. In an interview for the AV Club, he said that this movie was something he did because he was in a phase of his life where he'd do anything for money. He said,
ouch.
Yeah. He said he wasn't proud of that period of his life, but, quote, "But then you have to look at the paycheck, and I just cried all the way to the bank. But it was actually nice doing that movie. I didn't expect that movie to do anything, but it became a cult classic. A lot of people still check that out. So what I'm saying is that you really have to question the taste of a lot of these American moviegoers."
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's kind of a bummer because I thought he was fun in this movie. And you could tell that with his timing. Yeah, you could see that he had roots in SNL.
I would say so. Chuck, he's definitely he's definitely a highlight in this movie, I think.
Oh yeah, yeah. If anything, we could have used more Garrett Morris.
Yeah, there's a point in this movie where it just kind of drags on, and you're like, this. I don't need all this plot or whatever you're trying to pass off as plot. I just need more possessed stuff, things, and more one-liners, and because Michael Moriarty's character goes to this abandoned town, and I'm not even sure why he was there. I've seen it several times at this point. I don't know why he's there. And he randomly runs into Chocolate Chip Charlie. And nobody's in this town. Who knows where they went?
Again, I discovered that you have to watch this movie without daring to ask questions.
Yeah, you can't ask many questions when you're watching this movie. You just can't. I mean, the army shows up. Paul Sorvino, father of Mira. Yeah, that's right. Miri?
Yeah.
Mira? Murmur? One of those.
Ms. Savino.
Yeah, you know who we're talking about, right?
Yeah. The Mighty Aphrodite.
Yes. Oh, that's a good movie.
It is. Huh.
Was she Mighty Aphrodite?
Dude, she won an Oscar for it.
Wow, I'm dumb. How did I not know that?
I don't know. Why the fuck do I know it?
Man, you just won Trivial Pursuit. You beat me.
Well, I can also tell you that Paul Sorvino cried during her acceptance speech.
As he should have. That's his daughter,
Yes.
Tomko. Have a heart.
Bald like a baby. It was awesome.
He plays a colonel in the army who also hits on Michael Moriarty's love interest, because every movie has to have a love interest, and this one...
I'm going to come right out and say it. Other than the practical effects, Paul Sorvino was the best part of this movie.
Yeah.
I thought he was hilarious.
Yeah, he's very funny. He's kind of a lecherous old war hog, and I don't know.
Very, very much a spoof of the time, because back in 1985, everybody was super patriotic. We all hated commies. I mean, there's a reason why Rocky IV and Rambo 2 were both huge successes that year.
Number 3 and number 4.
Exactly. So it's really fun to see that type of stereotype spoofed and parodied in a contemporary product. I thought it was great.
And I think probably that's why this movie didn't get the following it maybe deserved when it was first released, because New World thought they were getting a horror movie. And it's not quite that.
I thought I was walking into a horror movie.
Okay, that's fair.
I can see that. Because, again, I remember that box art from when I was a kid and getting the shit creeped out of me.
Yeah, because, the poster is kind of intense. The main poster, it says warning in all red, and then it just says the stuff, and it has a picture of kind of, I think it's supposed to be Danny Aiello. It's a very Danny Aiello-esque face, and this man's eyes are leaking white stuff, and his mouth is wide open in a scream, and white stuff is pouring out. It's really creepy. But when you watch the movie, it's not that.
It's not that at all. It's more of a comedy.
It's more of a, it's like a horror comedy. It's more along the lines of Shaun of the Dead than 28 Days Later.
I would agree. It's also satirizing popular culture. It's making commentary about how corporations are knowingly selling us stuff that will kill us, and we're lapping it up. It was a very, very smart movie, but it's weird as fuck.
Yeah. Tomko, would you eat the stuff?
I'll try it.
I know. I would too, because let's be honest, it probably wouldn't even be in the top 5 in a list of unhealthy things that I've ever consumed.
Well, you're talking to the guy that is having his wife pick up something called nutritional yeast for his popcorn.
Excuse me? Nutritional yeast?
Yes, for Christmas, I got a Batman popcorn maker, and I wanted to get some ideas for toppings, and one of them was butter with nutritional yeast because it makes it taste like cheese.
Oh, boy.
And you know what? With a name like nutritional yeast, I'm too curious not to try it. So, yeah, if you put something in front of me and just say it's the stuff, I'd grab a spoon.
I mean, I've eaten fruit roll-ups and Lunchables and SpaghettiOs and Monster energy drinks and gallons of booze, liquors, and assorted libations and spirits. So
you're not going to let a little bit of white fluff intimidate you.
No, I'd power wash my throat with it. Why not? I like sweet things.
Exactly. But, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you can go.
Well, I was going to say, there is still stuff about this movie that I wish they had done differently.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, I know that the characters don't know what the stuff is made from. I get that, but
Yeah.
what is it? Where did it come from? Is it alien in nature? Was it always under the ground? How did oil drillers not discover it? What's going on here?
Well, Tomko, with the way Hollywood is, I'm sure we'll get a prequel movie to this stuff soon. So all your questions will be answered.
I could definitely see this movie being remade.
Oh, yeah, you could definitely remake it. In the age of streaming, I'm not sure why it's not been remade, quite honestly.
Well, not to mention that in the almost 40 years since this movie has been made, consumerism's even more rampant.
Oh, for sure.
So, yeah, it's kind of ripe for remaking, I think.
I wasn't kidding when I said all you would need is one TikTok challenge and everybody would be eating it. I think that would be the hook of any remake. Like, social media, there's a whole commentary to be made there of social media turning people into zombies.
Exactly.
By the way, share this podcast on Facebook.com and Twitter.
Thank you, Elon.
Yeah.
I mean, back to the plot. Eventually, Paul Sorvino reveals himself to own the, number 2, number 3 stations in Atlanta.
Yeah, randomly.
Out of nowhere.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because that's exactly what a Army colonel would own, is some radio stations.
And I love the fact that when they fly to Atlanta, get to the radio station, all of the staff is standing and saluting them as if it was a base.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I got a kick out of that.
That's what you're supposed to do when an Army person walks into any place, Tomko.
There are still a couple of main characters that we haven't really even talked about. The advertising executive who was responsible for the marketing campaign of the stuff. I gotta admit, I got a kick out of the way that they were introduced on the set of a new commercial for it, and they aren't even being shy about sexualizing this product.
No, it was the 80s. Sex sells.
Yep, you've got women in bathing suits and fur coats with long legs spooning this stuff into each other's mouths. And it's like, okay, subtlety has no place here, does it?
Well, it really didn't in the 80s, if you remember, because, we had babes in bikinis hanging out with Spuds McKenzie.
Well, they sexualized exercise back then.
Yes, they did.
With all the workout tapes and... Yeah, come on. So the fact that even back then they were aware of exactly what was going on and making fun of it, I thought that was really funny.
I think, yeah, I mean, it is smart in a stupid way. It's the best way to describe it. I get what they're going for. I understand it. I appreciate it. I think the actual the pinnacle of this movie is the scene in the radio station with Chocolate Chip Charlie. He's been possessed by the stuff, and this is the money shot.
When it comes to effects, I would say it's a cross between Chocolate Chip Charlie and the motel, where the stuff somehow explodes out of a pillow. I don't know why.
Yes, actually, that scene I thought was very impressive. The special effects in that.
I'd say that was the peak as far as special effects.
Yeah, in terms of how the hell did they do that? In terms of what the fuck am I watching? What is that? That's so weird. It's the Chocolate Chip Charlie scene.
Yeah, I could see an argument being made for that, absolutely, and I wouldn't disagree with you whatsoever. I'm still going with the pillow explosion just because it makes you scratch your head at first wondering what the hell is going on, and then all of a sudden it's a fucking gimbal shot, and I'm a sucker for those.
Yeah.
But as far as the commentary, peaking, I would say it's actually at the end of the first act when the boy, what was his name, Jason?
Yes.
The one that sees the stuff move.
Yeah.
His parents are fully under control, and all of a sudden, the feeling of the entire movie shifts from a narrative into an advertisement for the stuff, where the lighting looks like a commercial. The dialogue and performance sound and feel like a commercial. I just thought that was hilarious.
That's a good catch, yeah. The ending of the stuff, I mean, spoilers, you know. I appreciate the ending quite a bit because
yes.
The general public is made aware that the stuff is alive and whatever, and Mo and Jason go to confront the people behind this stuff.
The CEO of the stuff.
Yes.
Who was working hand in hand with the ice cream manufacturers all the time.
They were working with Big Junk Food the entire time. And they tell Mo that they've come up with a new product that they're going to call the Taste, which is a mix of 88% ice cream and just 12% of the stuff.
Just enough to keep you craving more, but not enough to take over your mind.
Yeah, that's all. I mean, is that a metaphor for cigarettes or something? I don't know.
Maybe.
However, Mo brings in Jason, who's carrying a box of the stuff, and they hold
who is suddenly a hardened badass.
He's like oh my God, you don't fuck with this kid. He will just...
He's not a kid no more.
Nope. He's been through the shit. He will drop you. They hold the two moguls at gunpoint, and they got a box full of pint containers of the stuff, and as punishment for all the lives lost for their greed, they make those two moguls eat it. And as they do, Rutherford asks, "Are you eating it, or is it eating you?" God damn, is that an ending?
Except it's not the ending.
It's not the ending. That should have been the ending.
No, I loved the actual ending because it really does speak to human nature.
Yeah, right.
If you tell somebody that they can't have something, well, guess what? It's going to go underground and they're still going to get it, except they're going to be paying stupid prices for it.
Yep, there's black market the stuff, and smugglers are selling it like drugs on the street.
I love the fact that it even looks like the stereotypical way that they test cocaines in movies where they scoop it up with their finger and they taste it.
Yeah.
They look at the other guy. Yep, it's good.
Yeah. They have a little jolt and, yeah.
So, yeah, I have to admit, this movie was kind of rough going for me, but it was because I didn't really know what the hell to expect. I had to take some time away from it, and then I ended up coming back, rewatching it again, realizing that, okay, this is a parody, this is a comedy, it's not a horror movie, and had a great fucking time.
I think that's appropriate. Yeah.
Having said that, though, I can see where plenty of people would hate this movie.
I can see that too, but I also understand why it's a cult classic. I personally like it quite a bit. I think it's fun.
It's a fun movie.
It's dumb fun. It's have a couple of beers and watch it. When it came out, the film was not a hit, and Larry Cohen feels that it was hurt by the fact that it was sold as a horror film, which I mentioned earlier. And he also stated that, quote, "The day the stuff opened in New York, a hurricane hit and the newspapers were not delivered. Of course, we had received all these great reviews, but it didn't matter because nobody ever got to read a single word of them." Now, if you watch King Cohen, the documentary on Larry Cohen, he started out in the blaxploitation scene, which is took place in the 70s, if you don't know, and it was a way to capitalize on urban America, and it was full of black leads and what have you. And one of the leads of several of Larry's movies was Fred Williamson. And he was kind of a legend.
Yeah.
And Fred said that I can't remember what it was, but the interviewer asked him about something, and Fred said, "That's a Larry myth." So you get the idea that he's kind of full of Stanley hyperbole.
You know what? That's awesome. Anybody who would make a movie like this and also make a shitload of other movies with Fred Williamson should be a Stanley type character.
Yeah, and you kind of get that impression that he's all hype man, and I like the idea of the Larry myth.
Yeah. You know what? I think I might have to track that down on Tubi tonight.
Yeah, it's a good watch. Last year, apparently, the Denver Film Organization found an old print, a 35 millimeter print of the stuff that they were going to show, and it actually had 30 additional minutes of film.
No.
The director's cut, Tomko.
Oh, just in time for you to double dip and buy another copy on Blu-ray.
Damn it. Let's see if it's ever released, but fingers crossed.
I've got a feeling. So, what do we have next on the docket, sir?
On the docket, Tomko, it's January.
Oh.
Because we missed Halloween this year, so we're taking scary movies to January, and we're cleverly calling it January.
Oh, getting a chill just hearing it.
Oh my God, we're covering horror movies. Not that we don't do that anyways, but you know, this is a whole marketing thing. Like the stuff. Do you get it? Yeah, enough of this podcast is never enough. Who can tell? Next time we're covering a movie called, God damn it, you're going to hate me, Tom. It's a movie called Spookies.
What?
Yeah, that's right. I've always wanted to see this. It's been on the master list to cover on this show for a very long time. So we're going to do it next time. Also in January Scary, I hope that you can wrangle your lover, Jake, to cover Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, as we discussed.
Oh. I might be able to arrange that, sir.
Excellent. And there'll be other stuff as well.
Looking forward to it.
And in February, I've decided it's the month of love. I think we're going to do our favorite movies, not like the absolute, you know, this is not like the Shawshank Redemption time go. I'm talking about the movies that you love for no particular reason at all, but other people are like, huh?
All right, you know what? I will have to think about that.
You get two and I get two. So you think on that, sir.
I think I will. I think we're going to have fun with that, yeah.
Yeah, I think it'll be a hoot.
All right, looking forward to it.
If you think this program is a hoot, you tell all your friends. You say, hey, listen to this, darn it. And I bet they will. I bet they listen to you.
Well, we have very persuasive listeners. Of course they will.
Absolutely. Where can people find you on the internet, Timco?
I'm still on Twitter, working in the background under the handle of @TheDrunkenDork. And on Facebook, you can find me at a little group that is somehow not been deleted called Jake and Tom Conquer the Group. What about you, Randy?
You can find me on Twitter at MRetailSlave on a big dumb comedy show called Miserable Retail Slave, which we're going to change the name of the program.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I mean,
it worked for Jake and Tom.
Yeah, it's no longer accurate, right?
Not exactly. No, I wouldn't exactly say you're miserable. I'd say you're sounding like quite the opposite, in fact.
Nor do I work in retail.
So what is it going to be? Or are you going to wait until the actual show to reveal this?
I'm going to wait till the actual show because I don't know what it's going to be, okay?
Oh, here I was thinking it was going to be some clever way to get them to tune in.
Well, it is. Hopefully I have a name by then. But, yeah.
The Unnamed Randy Project.
Yeah, exactly.
I kind of like that now I'm thinking about it.
Okay, that's what it'll be then.
There you go.
That'll get me all the downloads on the Apple. Huh? In the meantime, you go ahead. In the meantime, you go ahead, dear listener. You queue up Spookies. You watch it. And you come back here on someone's favorite movie. We'll see you next time.
See ya.
Bye.